The bustling heart of the city, where the streets hummed with the endless rhythm of hurried footsteps and distant sirens, Alex had always found solace in the small indie coffee shop on Elm Street. It was a place of worn wooden tables and the rich aroma of freshly ground beans, a sanctuary amid the chaos. That crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves danced outside the fogged windows, Alex spotted her, Elena, though he didn't know her name yet. She lingered by the entrance, her coat threadbare and eyes shadowed with a weariness that spoke of battles unseen. Their gazes met briefly, a spark in the mundane, and before he could overthink it, he waved her over to his table. "Join me," he asked, his voice warm like the steam rising from his untouched latte. She hesitated, fingers clutching the strap of a faded backpack, but something in his genuine smile coaxed her forward. As she slid into the seat opposite him, the world outside faded, leaving just the two of them in this fragile bubble of possibility. Elena's heart pounded as she settled into the chair, the plush cushion a luxury she hadn't felt in days. For a week, she'd wandered the city's underbelly, nights huddled in alley doorways, days scavenging for warmth in public libraries, her pride the only thing keeping her from crumbling entirely. The eviction notice had come like a thief in the night, stripping away her apartment, her job, her sense of self. Now, this stranger's invitation felt like a lifeline or a trap, she couldn't decide which. "I'm Alex," he said, pushing a menu toward her with an easy grin. "First coffee's on me. What's your poison, espresso, cappuccino, or something sweet to chase the chill away?" His casual kindness disarmed her, and she murmured, "Just black, please." "I'm Elena." The barista's call echoed, and as he stood to order, she traced the grain of the table with her fingertip, wondering if this was the start of something real or just another fleeting mercy from a world that had turned its back. When Alex returned with the steaming mugs, the conversation flowed like the crema on his Americano, light at first, tentative sips of shared stories. He was a graphic designer, freelancing from coffee shops because the four walls of his studio felt too confining. "Deadlines are my nemesis," he chuckled, stirring in a packet of sugar. Elena nodded, forcing a smile as she cradled her cup, the heat seeping into her chilled hands like a forgotten embrace. She spoke of her love for painting, how she'd once dreamed of galleries and canvases splashed with rebellion, but life had other plans, bills that piled like unanswered prayers, a layoff that shattered her routine. She omitted the homelessness, the gnawing hunger that mornings like this masked with borrowed courage. Instead, she let his laughter draw her out, his questions gentle probes into the parts of her she still recognized. For those moments, the backpack at her feet felt less like a burden and more like a secret she might one day share. As the morning stretched into a lazy midday haze, the coffee shop filled with the murmur of patrons and the soft jazz filtering from hidden speakers. Alex leaned forward, elbows on the table, his blue eyes alight with curiosity. "Tell me about your favorite piece you've ever created," he prompted, and Elena's words tumbled forth unbidden, a vivid description of a sunset over the harbor, strokes of ochre and indigo capturing the fleeting beauty of dusk. He listened rapt, imagining her hands deft with brush and palette, and in turn, shared sketches from his phone, whimsical illustrations of urban foxes in business suits, evading the daily grind. Laughter bubbled between them, easing the knot in her chest, and for the first time in 7 days, Elena felt seen, not as a shadow slipping through cracks, but as a woman with dreams etched in her soul. The empty mugs sat forgotten, refills unnecessary when connection was the true sustenance. Outside, the city pulsed on, oblivious to the quiet revolution unfolding within those yellow walls. Elena's mind raced with the what-ifs. What if he knew? Would his warmth curdle into pity, or worse, recoil? She glanced at her reflection in the window, hair tousled from restless nights, cheeks hollowed by skipped meals, and adjusted her scarf to hide the frayed edges. Alex, sensing a shift in her demeanor, reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers in a gesture both accidental and electric. "Hey, you okay? You look like you're carrying the weight of the world." His concern was a bomb, and she swallowed hard, the truth teetering on her tongue. Instead, she deflected with a question about his weekend plans, steering them back to safer waters. They talked of books, her passion for worn paperbacks from thrift stores, his guilty pleasure in sci-fi epics, and in those exchanges, she glimpsed a future where coffee dates weren't anomalies but rhythms. The sun climbed higher, casting elongated shadows across the floorboards, and Alex found himself entranced by the way Alina's eyes lit when she spoke of art's redemptive power. He hadn't planned on this detour from his solitary routine, but her presence was a magnetic pull, drawing out confessions he'd long buried: the loneliness of singlehood in a metropolis that prized pairs, the ache for someone to share the small victories. "It's funny," he admitted, tracing the rim of his mug, "how a simple invitation can upend your day. I'm glad you said yes." Alina's throat tightened. His words echoed the fragility of her own existence, where yes was a gamble. She wanted to tell him everything: the cardboard bed under bridges, the shame that clung like damp fog, but fear sealed her lips. Instead, she squeezed his hand briefly, a silent thank you for the illusion of normalcy, and watched as his smile deepened, unaware of the storm she'd weathered to sit here. By early afternoon, the coffee shop's crowd thinned, leaving pockets of intimacy amid the clink of saucers and the hiss of the espresso machine. Alina's stomach growled softly, a traitor to her composure, and Alex caught it with a knowing glance. "Hungry? They've got the best avocado toast here, my treat." She protested weakly, but he was already at the counter, returning with plates piled high with golden bread, smashed green, and poached eggs that oozed like hidden secrets. As they ate, forks scraping in companionable silence, the conversation turned deeper: dreams deferred, heartbreaks mended with time. Alina shared fragments of her past: a childhood in a coastal town where waves whispered promises, a move to the city chasing stardom that soured into survival. Alex nodded, his own tales of familial expectations and creative blocks weaving a tapestry of mutual understanding. In that shared meal, the invisible wall between them thinned, her secret a shadow lengthening but not yet eclipsing the light. As the light softened into the amber glow of impending dusk, Alex checked his watch reluctantly, the real world intruding on their cocoon. "I hate to say it, but I've got a client call in an hour. Walk with me to the park. The leaves are incredible right now." Alina's pulse quickened. The park meant exposure, her backpack a glaring anomaly among joggers and dog walkers. But declining felt like severing a thread she wasn't ready to lose. They gathered their things, stepping into the crisp air where the scent of roasting chestnuts mingled with exhaust. Side by side, they strolled the leaf-strewn paths, his arm brushing hers occasionally, sparking awareness. He pointed out sculptures half hidden in foliage, she countered with imagined stories for each: lovers eloping, artists in exile. Laughter echoed, a shield against her inner turmoil, and for a stolen hour, homelessness was a distant echo, drowned by the rustle of autumn's symphony. In the park's heart, they found a bench overlooking a duck-dotted pond, the water rippling like whispered confessions. Alex turned to her, expression earnest. "Elena, this has been unexpected. In the best way. Can I see you again? Dinner, maybe. Or another coffee adventure?" Her heart soared and sank in equal measure. The invitation was a bridge to normalcy, yet built on sands of omission. The week's ordeal flashed before her: the cold concrete, the judgmental stares, the gnawing fear of invisibility, and tears pricked her eyes. "I'd like that," she whispered, voice cracking. He mistook it for emotion's overflow, pulling her into a tentative hug that smelled of sandalwood and safety. As they parted, she resolved to reveal her truths soon, before affection deepened into something unbreakable. For now, though, she let the moment linger, a fragile bloom in winter's grip.